According to the U.S. Department of Transportation, at any given moment across the United States, approximately 660,000 drivers are using their cell phones while they drive, giving more attention to their game of Candy Crush or to a Facebook status than to the 3,000-pound vehicle they are operating. At the time of his accident, Chance Both was a 21-year-old college student living in Texas, a state where texting and driving is still legal. Chance knew that texting and driving was very dangerous, but it wasn't illegal, so he didn't see it as any major cause for concern. He can still remember the final text that he sent on January 24th, 2012. It stated, and I quote, "If we keep doing this, I'm going to wreck my truck. I'm going to crash." Moments later, Chance's truck plunged head first into a creek. And according to reporter Christy Myers, the truck's engine ended up in his lap, and the truck's roof crumpled his head, shaking his brain. Chance suffered brain damage and broke almost every bone in his body. He had to spend 6 months in the hospital completely relearning how to walk. Chance is considered one of the lucky ones. Chance's story represents just one of the tragic accidents caused by distracted driving, an incident that underscores the dire need for policy change in regards to cell phone use while driving. I will argue that every U.S. state should ban all use of cell phones while driving, including the use of hands-free electronic communication devices. Cell phone usage proves to be exceedingly dangerous while driving. According to research presented by EdgarSnyder.com, those who text and drive are 23 times as likely to crash. This is due in part to the fact that this handheld cell phone use takes the eyes off the road for 5 seconds, enough time for the driver to travel the length of a football field, providing more space and opportunity for accidents. Studies compiled from the same site also state that texting while driving causes a 400% increase in time spent with eyes off the road. If drivers are not looking at the road, they can't possibly respond properly to changes in traffic. According to Frank Drews, assistant professor of psychology at the University of Utah, those who text and drive are as impaired as those who drive intoxicated at the blood alcohol limit of 0.08%, the minimum level that defines illegal drunken driving in the United States. Of course, drinking and driving is illegal in all states, but if texting and driving is on par with drinking and driving in terms of level of impairment, shouldn't we be taking similar steps to criminalize texting? This highlights the immense danger that texting while driving possesses and that we need to change our policies. Such dangers are especially high among young drivers who are relatively new to the road. They are 4 times more likely to crash than their adult counterparts. However, texting is not the sole problem. Even drivers who are simply talking on a cell phone are still likely to crash. Even though they have not taken their eyes off the road, their minds are focused elsewhere and they are still distracted. Hands-free phones also prove to be dangerous while driving. According to researchers Ishigami and Klein, talking on the phone, regardless of phone type, has negative impacts on performance, especially in identifying and responding to events. In fact, sometimes using a hands-free device is more dangerous than using a handheld one. Ishigami and Klein state that drivers compensate for the deleterious effects of handheld cell phone use, but neglect to do so when using a handheld device. A study released by the AAA Foundation found that using a hands-free device may actually increase the risk of crashing, as drivers are putting their guards down. According to researcher Patrick Salvi, the problem is not that talking on a cell phone takes the hands off the wheel, but that it takes the minds off the road. Eliminating cell phone use will combat a major aspect of distracted driving. There are myriad issues that currently exist within the policies concerning cell phone use, mainly that many states lack laws prohibiting cell phone use while driving. According to the Governor's Highway Safety Association, currently only 12 states prohibit handheld cell phone use for driving for all drivers. Further, no state bans all cell phone use for all drivers. 37 states and DC ban all cell phone use for novice drivers, and shockingly, only 18 states and DC ban cell phone use for school bus drivers. It seems rather ridiculous that a school bus driver could be legally using his or her cell phone while transporting children and ultimately being responsible for their lives. In 2010, a school bus was transporting nearly 50 students to an amusement park when it crashed into a pickup truck, killing the pickup truck driver and one student. Investigators later discovered that the school bus driver had been texting the moments before the crash. Currently, 41 states ban text messaging for all drivers, and 6 additional states possess bans for novice drivers only. This leaves 3 states without any bans on texting while driving. And while the residents of these states understand the dangers that texting and driving poses, without any consequences from the law, there is little to discourage this negative behavior, aside from an accident, which is often too late. I propose that every U.S. state should pass laws banning the use of cell phones while driving, including the use of hands-free electronic communication devices. This will combat a major aspect of distracted driving and will hopefully focus driver attention back on the road where it belongs. According to researcher Adrian Lund, these laws do what they intend. Laws prohibiting cell phone use while driving have greatly reduced the likelihood that drivers will use their phones while driving. Not using cell phones while driving also greatly reduces instances of distracted driving. And according to the Highway Loss Data Institute, the passage of these laws will see reductions in aggregate crashes. Since these law changes would produce the desired effects, there is no reason they should not be implemented. According to the Huffington Post, a Berkeley study found that a California cell phone ban reduced traffic-related deaths. It was discovered in the study that overall traffic deaths dropped 22%, and that deaths blamed on drivers using cell phones while driving dropped a whopping 47%. While it may be difficult to enforce the laws banning the use of hands-free communication devices, informing the public of these dangers and that these phones are just as, if not more dangerous than the handheld ones, will hopefully deter their use. Ad campaigns on preventing texting and driving have seen powerful impacts, and discussing one particularly intense ad against texting and driving amongst my coworkers this summer resulted in a unanimous response that no text or call was worth a life, and a vow to stop using cell phones while driving. Similar ads discouraging the use of hands-free electronic communication devices will see similar results. Cell phone use doesn't account for all aspects of distracted driving, but this does not mean that these laws should not be implemented. Cell phone use accounts for a rather large chunk of distracted driving. In 2010, the NHTSA discovered that cell phone use was responsible for 18% of fatalities in distraction-related crashes. Although prohibiting cell phone use won't rid the country entirely of distraction-related crashes, it will reduce a large chunk. Preventing 18% of these deaths would have been astounding. In conclusion, cell phone use is greatly reduced when states enact bans prohibiting the use of cell phones while driving. Implementing similar policies in every state will ultimately lead to fewer cell phone-related crashes and fatalities. While instituting laws banning all cell phone use while driving won't combat every aspect of distracted driving, it will combat a major chunk of it. Had the necessary laws been in place in Texas, chances accident might have been prevented.